stays the same. Now, if I'm looking for a line of symmetry or axis of symmetry is always x equals whatever the x coordinate of the vertex is. So a line of symmetry here, x equals 2, is just this line going straight down. Okay, that's my line of symmetry. My A value represents stretch and shrink. If the absolute value of the A value is greater than 1, in this case the A value is 2, so it's greater than 1, we have vertical stretch and horizontal shrink. And you always have the opposite. You never have vertical stretch, horizontal stretch, or vertical shrink, horizontal shrink. One is one, the other is the other. In this case, vertical stretch, horizontal shrink is you have that number that's absolute value of it is bigger than 1 in front of your absolute value. This 2 represents a vertical stretch and a horizontal shrink. Now we go to the graphic. If there's no fractions involved, go down 1 and go up 1 for your x. Okay? Now, if you need to do the work, go ahead. Y equals 2 absolute value of 1 minus 2 minus 6. And there I just plug my 1 in for x, and now I'm going to get my y. Absolute value of negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 2 minus 6, my y equals a negative 4. And since these graphs are symmetric, the 3 presents a negative 4 as well. Okay? Now I graph the vertex 2, negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, negative 6, 1, negative 4, and 3, negative 4. And it's important my graph looks like a V. You got to draw straight lines here. Okay? That's how you graph this. The second one, my x and y. Negative 1, 5 is my vertex point, which means my line of symmetry is x equals negative 1. Right away I can get it. Line of symmetry. My A value is, absolute value of it is less than 1, but greater than negative 1. Basically, it's a fraction less than 1, which creates now vertical shrink. Means it's going to take longer to go up, but it makes your graph wider. So that's horizontal stretch. Now, with that being said, now I go to my points. When it's a fraction, we count by what the denominator is. So we count down 3, we count up 3 to get my 2 new x's. That keeps fractions out of your graph. And now I plug one of them in. I'll plug negative 4 in. So y equals a negative 1/3 absolute value of negative 4 plus 1 plus 5. Negative 1/3, negative 4 plus 1 is a negative 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. 3 times a negative 1, or I'm sorry, 3 times a negative 1/3 is negative 1, and y equals 4. So we put a 4 here and a 4 here. Alright? Negative 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's my vertex. Negative 4, 4, 2, 4. And there's my V going out wide, but not down as quickly, representing the vertical shrink and the horizontal stretch. Okay, so the vertex is found the same way. 1, 7. what makes the parenthesis equal to 0, I should say, and x equaling 1 here. Which means the line of symmetry x equals 1. It's always the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay. Now, I have a number whose absolute value is bigger than 1. Even though negative 2 is not bigger than 1, the absolute value of it is bigger than 1. So that refers to vertical stretch, horizontal shrink. Now, when I plug my points in, there's no fraction, so I'm going to go down 1, I'm going to go up 1. And now I'm going to plug one of the numbers in. I'll plug 0 in for x. So y equals a negative 2 times 0 minus 1 squared plus 7. 0 minus 1 is negative 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 7. And negative 2 plus 7 is 5. So this is 5 and this is 5. 1/7. There's my vertex. 0, 5, and 2, 5. And I want to make this graph, it's got to look like a U. It's got to be a bent line. If you want to put an extra point in there really to confirm it, you could. Let's say put 3 in. 3 minus 1 is... 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 7 is negative 1. So if I have a 3, right here is where 3 negative 1 is. I also should end up like right there. You can put extra points in if you want. Okay? But ultimately, you need a curved line. The second one, my vertex is negative 3, negative 2. Okay? Which means my line of symmetry is x equals negative 3. Okay? Since that number in front of the parabola is less than 1 but greater than negative 1, we have vertical shrink and horizontal stretch. Okay. Now, with that being said, my fraction's denominator is 2, so I'm going to count down by 2, I'm going to count up by 2. I'll put a negative 5 in there. So 1/2 times negative 5 plus 3 squared minus 2. 1/2 times negative 2 squared minus 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Half of 4 is 2. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So this is 0 and this is 0. Negative 3, negative 2 is this point right here. Negative 1, 0. Negative 3, 0. And it's curved. And that's my graph. If you wanted to put an extra point in, you could throw 1 in here. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 1/2